Hello, everyone. In today's episode, we are going to talk about something very simple but very powerful: how to think in English. This is a problem that many learners have. Even if your life is busy, even if you feel shy, even if you don't live in an English speaking country, you can still learn to think in English step by step. Many people believe that they must move to the UK or the US to learn English well, but this is not true. You don't need to live in London. You don't need a native speaker next to you all the time, and you don't need to study for many hours every night. What you really need are small and smart steps, steps that are easy to repeat every day, steps that fit into your daily life. For example, speaking for 1 minute in the morning, listening while you're walking, or thinking in English when you are alone. These small habits may look simple, but over time, they create real change. If you live in a country where people speak English every day, you will hear it often. You will use it often. So slowly, English becomes part of your thinking. You don't need to translate anymore. When you want to say something, the sentence comes directly in English. But for most people, this is not their situation. Most learners live in places where English is not used every day. This may be your situation too. Maybe you study by yourself. Maybe you only use English when you watch videos or read something online. And when you try to speak, you feel slow. You think in your language first. Then you try to change it into English. This takes time. And sometimes your sentence sounds strange because English has a different structure. For example, in your language, you may say something like, "I very like this." But in English, we say, "I really like this." This is why translating in your head can make speaking difficult and unnatural. Let me tell you the real problem. You are not slow because your English is bad. You are slow because you are translating. Your brain is trying to do two things at the same time. First, you think in your own language. Then you try to change it into English. This takes time. And while you are thinking, the conversation is already moving. That is why you feel nervous. That is why you stop. Think about this. Someone asks you a simple question like, "What did you do today?" You understand it, but before you answer, your brain goes back to your language first. Then you try to build the English sentence. And in that moment, you feel stuck. This is not because you are not good. It is because your brain is working too hard. But here's the good news. When you stop translating, everything becomes faster and easier. You can train your brain to think directly in English. You don't need a special talent. You just need practice and a simple method. And today, I will show you how to do that. Let's begin with one of the most powerful techniques: shadowing. Maybe you have heard this word before, or maybe it is new to you. Shadowing is a simple but very effective way to improve both your listening and your speaking at the same time. Here is how it works. You listen to someone speaking English, like a podcast, a video, or even this audio. Then you repeat what you hear. You don't stop to think. You don't translate. You don't check the dictionary. You just listen and repeat like an echo. Try to copy not only the words, but also the sound, the speed, and the rhythm. This is very important because English is not just words. It has a flow. Let's try together. I will say a sentence, and you repeat after me. I want to speak English fluently. I listen to English every day. Shadowing helps me think and speak better. That is shadowing. At first, it may feel strange. You may feel like you are speaking too fast. You may not understand every word, but that is okay. Shadowing is not about understanding everything. It is about training your brain and your mouth to work together. Think about music. When you learn a song, you don't understand every word at first, but you listen, you repeat, and slowly you can sing it. Language works in a similar way. If you practice shadowing every day, even for 5 minutes, you will start to notice something. Your speaking becomes faster, your pronunciation becomes clearer, and your sentences start to feel more natural. This is because your brain is getting used to English patterns. Now, let's come back to the main question: how to think in English. Many students tell me the same thing. "I want to improve, but I don't have time." Or, "I feel nervous when I speak." Or, "I don't know how to start." And my answer is always simple. You don't need a lot of time. You don't need perfect grammar. And you don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You just need to begin. Let's begin with a simple idea. Think in English one thought at a time. This is one of the biggest changes you can make when learning English. Many people try to translate full sentences, and this makes speaking slow and difficult. So instead of translating full sentences, start with small thoughts. At the beginning, this will feel a little difficult. Your brain will want to go back to your native language. That is normal, but you don't need to fight it too hard. You just need to guide your thinking step by step. Start with short and simple sentences in your mind. For example, when you wake up, you can think, "It's morning. I feel sleepy. I need a coffee." When you walk outside, you can say in your mind, "The sky is blue. The air is cold. I see a dog." During your day, you can think, "I am working. I feel tired. I want to go home." These are very simple thoughts, but they are very important. They help your brain connect directly to English. You are not translating. You are thinking, and that is the goal. Later, you can try to say these sentences out loud. You don't need to speak loudly. You can whisper or speak quietly. It may feel strange at first, but it is like having a small conversation with yourself. And this is one of the best ways to practice. Most teachers and experts say the same thing. Start small. A good first step is to think in single words. Look around you right now. What do you see? Try to name things in English. For example, phone, table, chair, window, door. At first, you may not know all the words. That is okay. You can skip it or look it up later. The important thing is to try. One teacher I know often tells his students to do this every day. When they wake up, they look around and name things. When they walk outside, they do the same. After some time, something interesting happens. Words start to come to your mind automatically. You don't need to think too much. You can also make it a habit. For example, when you are in your room, you name 5 things. When you are in the kitchen, you name 5 things. Before you sleep, you think about what you used today. Phone, bag, keys, food. This builds your vocabulary in a natural way. After you feel comfortable with nouns, you can add verbs. For example, I open the door. I drink water. I sit on the chair. Now your thinking becomes more active. You are not just naming things, you are describing actions. Now, let's move to the next level. Thinking in conversation. This means you imagine that you are talking to someone. You ask questions and you answer them. This is very powerful because it prepares you for real-life situations. For example, imagine someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" You can answer in your mind, "Yesterday I worked. Then I went home. I watched a video and went to sleep." Or imagine someone asks, "What do you like to do on weekends?" You can answer, "I like to relax. I watch movies. Sometimes I go out with friends." At first, your answers will be simple. That is okay. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to get used to speaking in your mind without translating. You can do this anywhere. When you are walking, when you are waiting, when you are alone. You don't need a partner. You create the conversation yourself. And here is something very important. Sometimes you will not know a word. Your mind will stop. In that moment, don't go back to your native language. Try to explain the idea in a different way. For example, if you don't know the word calculator, you can say, "The thing I use to count numbers." This is exactly what happens in real conversations. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, your brain will stop translating. Now let's move to tip number 2. Use English in your daily life. If you want to speak English well, don't only study English. Live with English. This idea is simple, but many people don't follow it. They study for 30 minutes, then stop. The rest of the day, they go back to their own language. So their brain never gets used to English. But if you start using English in small moments during the day, everything begins to change. English becomes something natural, not something difficult. Think about your normal day. When you wake up, when you eat, when you walk, when you use your phone, these are all chances to use English. For example, in the morning when you get dressed, you can think, "I put on my shirt. I wear my shoes. I take my bag." When you are outside, you can say, "I walk to work. I wait for the bus. I see many people." These are simple sentences, but they help you stay in English. At first, it may feel slow. You may need to think more. That is okay. You are training your brain. You can also do this during daily tasks. When you are cooking, think, "I cut the vegetables. I cook rice. The food smells good." When you are using your phone, think, "I check my messages. I watch a video. I reply to my friend." These small actions happen every day, so you have many chances to practice. You don't need extra time. You just use the time you already have. Another useful method is to describe your day using simple sentences. Start with the present tense because it is easier. For example, "I work in the office. I answer emails. I talk to my boss." Then you can move to the future. In the morning, think, "Today, I will go to work. I will meet my friend. I will study English tonight." Or make a small plan. "After work, I am going to buy coffee. Then I will go home. I will watch a video and relax." At night, think about the past. For example, "Today, I worked a lot. I talked to my friend. I learned some new words." Now you are using present, future, and past. This is how real language works. And here is why this is powerful. You are not memorizing. You are using English again and again in real situations. Your brain starts to remember patterns. You don't need to translate every time. Over time, something changes. You stop thinking in your native language first. You start thinking directly in English. Now let's move to tip number 3. Immerse yourself in English. This means you listen to English every day. If you want to think in English and speak more naturally, you need to hear the language often. Not once a week, not only in class, but a little bit every day. Many learners focus too much on grammar or vocabulary, but they forget one important thing. Language is something you hear first. Before you can speak well, your brain needs to get used to the sound of English. Listening helps you learn new words, but more importantly, It helps you understand how real English sounds. You learn the rhythm, the speed, and the natural way people speak. At first, listening may feel difficult. You may feel like you don't understand anything. Maybe you only catch a few words. This is normal. Many people stop here because they think it is too hard. But actually, this is the most important stage. Your brain is learning, even if you don't notice it yet. Think about when you listen to music in another language. At first, it sounds like noise. But after hearing it many times, you start to recognize words. Then you understand small parts. Language works the same way. You don't need to understand everything. Even if you understand 30% or 50%, it is still useful. Your brain is building connections. Over time, you will understand more without translating. So how can you do this in real life? It's simple. You can listen to podcasts, music, or short videos. You can watch simple stories or English news for learners. Choose something you enjoy. If you enjoy it, you will continue. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a big difference. If you do this every day, your listening will improve. You will start to recognize common words and phrases, and one day you will notice something surprising. You understand without thinking too much. That is the moment when you stop translating. Now, tip number 4, speak out loud and train your speaking muscles. Many learners read English in their head. That is good for understanding, but if you want to speak better, you must use your voice. Speaking is a physical skill. It uses your mouth, your tongue, your lips, and your breath. If you don't practice, it will always feel difficult. So, reading out loud is a simple but powerful habit. Choose something easy. It can be a short story or a simple dialogue. Read it slowly at first. Focus on clear pronunciation. Then read it again a little faster. Then read it again with emotion, like you are telling a story. For example, instead of just reading, "I am happy to see you," say it with feeling. This helps your brain understand both meaning and emotion. At first, you may feel uncomfortable. Your voice may sound strange. Some words may feel difficult. That is normal. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Think of it like exercise. The more you train, the stronger you become. You can also repeat what you hear. After listening to a sentence, say it again. Try to copy the sound and rhythm. Repeat it multiple times. This helps your brain remember the structure. Over time, your speaking becomes smoother, clearer, and more confident. Now, tip number 5. Change one simple habit in your daily life. Start by changing your phone settings to English. You check your phone many times a day, so why not turn it into learning time? When your phone is in English, you see common words again and again. Words like settings, update, delete, or download. At first, you may not understand everything, but after a few days, you start to recognize them. This is passive learning. You learn without feeling like you are studying. Another powerful habit is writing a short diary. Every day, write 3 simple sentences about your day. For example, today I went to work. I felt tired. I drank coffee. These sentences are simple, but very useful. They help you think in English and use real vocabulary. You can also watch short videos. Watch one video 2 or 3 times, then pause and repeat the sentences. Pay attention to how people speak. Even a short video is enough if you practice actively. If you combine these habits, you will start to see real progress. Not in one day, but over time. Your brain will become familiar with English, and slowly, you will stop translating. Now, let's make it simple. Thinking in English is not difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time. You just need to change what you already do into English. Instead of thinking in your language, think in English. Instead of writing in your language, write simple English sentences. These small actions become habits, and habits create fluency. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Over time, something powerful happens. You stop translating. You stop thinking in 2 languages. English starts to come naturally. But here is something most people don't realize. This is not the final step, because once you start thinking in English, a new challenge begins. You can think in English, but can you respond instantly in real conversations? You can understand English, but can you express your emotions naturally? You can speak, but do you sound confident? This is where most learners get stuck again, and this is exactly what we are going to fix next. In the next video, I will show you how to speak English naturally without overthinking, how to respond faster, and how to sound confident in real conversations. Because thinking in English is just the beginning. Fluency is the next level. And once you understand that, everything changes. So don't miss the next episode, because that might be the moment your English finally starts to feel easy. See you in the next video.